we've spoken a lot. So for the last bit of the pod, I think we'll do a little bit of chat about journaling, shall we? Just because we've done
Let's
a
do
lot of
it.
chat about exercise, we've done a
We
lot of
always talk
chat
about exercise,
about
yeah.
diet and what you put into your body has a massive impact, and this whole idea of emergence, full stop, right? Of what you do affects positively and negatively your body and brain. So make sure you do the right things. We've done a lot of that. So let's talk about journaling, I think, because it's something that is I can picture it now, man. I can picture just some geezers in their middle age just listening to this and going, "What are these two young bucks talking about, man?" Like just writing my things down. What are you on about? I ain't doing that. I ain't got the time for that. I got to put up this shelf. Um, and I just think,
I love the image you painted of our audience. It's
yeah,
middle-aged
yeah,
men put
yeah,
up
yeah.
shelves.
The four people that are listening have just
Oh my God, it's
obsessed with
four
this
now.
category. Is it
It was
four?
two last week.
Two last
You
week.
said it was
We've
one,
grown.
and then it's two.
We've
Wow,
doubled.
look at
That it'll be
that.
out next week and all. So yeah, like that. But for real, like this idea of and well, I don't. I could go closer to home. I could go to my friends. If I sat down and said, "Let's all just start writing down our thoughts and feelings in a journal," I'll get laughed out of wherever we are. I get laughed, So
Yeah.
you got to bear with it, right? If you are someone that is would be anti this from the sound of it and what it sounds like, then that's okay. You're
Mm.
more than entitled to your opinion, but don't knock it until you hear about it. Don't knock it until you try it, right? I'm a 24-year-old geezer who has had to become more vulnerable just so I could improve my mental state, become someone more open, and become someone who is more susceptible to this sort of support and self help that a lot of people
Mm.
see as
Yeah.
classical nonsense. So stick with it and just hear us out. And I'll pass you over to my very handy colleague, Mr. Adam Wright.
I think anyone who has journaled knows that it helps basically to write
Yeah.
your thoughts and feelings down. But the reason why basically is because it allows you to sit above your thoughts and feelings in that moment. It's a little bit, it's not the same thing, but it's a little bit like meditation. And we call it metacognition, where you're feeling certain things, but when you write them down, when you try and trace what the emotion is, kind of what caused it and how it's making you feel, you are you're sitting above that thing and allowing yourself to notice it. And the reason why it's so important is because in the brain, let's talk about the brain bit for a second, right? So your worry system is kind of just behind your eyes, which is the bit we're often when we're negative thinking, spiraling, anxiety, that's all contained kind of here. But by just noticing and transforming and kind of tracing those feelings, we literally shift to where our localization of our thinking is from the bit right up front of our head to this bit up here, which is kind of your neocortex, your insight circuits, which allows, first of all, allows you to stop being in that part of your brain, which means you immediately stop feeling as nervous and anxious, even a little bit, because you're not in that part of your brain where it's generating those feelings. But also it stops them that neuroplasticity process of developing and strengthening that part of your brain at the front. It allows to strengthen the top part of your brain at the top instead. But most of the time, in a kind of in a sensory sense now, we live in emotions, living through emotions without noticing anything about how we're feeling in the moment. If I asked you, listener, how do you feel right now? Or what feelings do you feel? You probably would have to think about it for a minute. Like, how do I feel? Do I feel a bit Maybe I feel a bit gloomy because it's Monday. Maybe I feel hungry because I haven't eaten in a little while. Like it takes you a little while to investigate that feeling, right? You've got a bunch of emotions and feelings floating around in your body all the time, but we don't necessarily notice it. And it sounds weird, but emergence tells us that if we are angry, we are sometimes angry without even realizing we've become angry. We are now angry because something's happened, some external environment event has happened to us, or we've just been a long time since we eat, or something. We are now angry, but we have no idea we're angry. So we are then angry to people around us, but we haven't noticed that feeling. So I want to really caveat this. Writing down your negative thoughts and feelings and the things that have been the struggle and challenge today is super, super important. Absolutely. I do it all the time. No, one of the things I've really tried to develop over the last few months is a journaling habit, and it's one of the things I really enjoy. Like I don't always want to journal because I don't always want to write. It's effort to write, but it is good. It's good for me, and it's a nice thing to do. But sometimes, talking about the negative bias of our brains, when we journal all the time, we end up only writing down negative thoughts, negative experiences we're having. And then one of the great things about journaling is that we can go back and look at previous journals and see our previous experiences. But if we only ever write down the negative experiences we're having in the day, it reinforces this idea that we always feel a certain way about something, which is not true. Like, even in your worst day, there will be some moments of joy, as Andy said earlier. There's maybe a tiny, tiny little patch of it, like someone was nice to you at a coffee shop, like I don't know, it could be a tiny patch of it, but there will always be some joy, even in the darkest day. But if we only ever write down those awful, awful experiences and never ever write down those positive things, then we are possibly going to strengthen the idea that we are just a sad person who no one likes and no one ever talks to, and we've always felt like this. Because none of that's true.
You've basically got three main skills of emotional regulation. Okay, you've got this idea of emotional agility, emotional granularity, and emotional hygiene. Right. So what emotional agility is basically understanding that 1 minute you feel this, the next minute your emotions can shift. Yeah, that's all that means. Okay. Emotional granularity is what journaling is all about. It is linking events to emotions. This happened to me today. It made me feel like this, right? That's a strong skill of metacognition and self awareness. And then you've got your emotional hygiene, which again is what journaling hits, which is dealing and processing your emotions. Okay. Very important stuff. So Gladden. So what Gladden is, okay? So it's similar to journaling, right? But it's a more of a structured piece of journaling. Okay, so
Yeah.
writing down every single day one thing that was good, one thing that you learned, one thing you achieved, one thing that delighted you, an emotion you experienced, and something new that took place that day. Okay, so what you're doing when you're practicing this Gladden, okay, is you're understanding that there are things in your day, every single day, that fit into those categories. And then you start to actually see positive and light in those good days, and you can see positive and light in those worst days because you're forcing yourself to remember, oh, well, I thought I had a difficult day, but actually, you know what, that was quite good today. Well, I did learn something new today. What did I achieve today? Well, I did that. That was a real tough question in school, and I smashed that, man. Yeah, it was tough, but I did it. So you achieved that, right? What emotions did you experience? Well, yeah, I did feel a bit anxious, but then I did go for that run and I felt a bit better for it. It didn't cure me like that, but I felt a bit better, and all those sorts of things. So, Gladden as an activity is a really positive way of journaling because Adam's right. If we said to you, go and just start journaling now, the likelihood is that first entry is going to be filled with negative thoughts and emotions and experiences that you had in the day. So, that's so telling in how our brains operate and are wired because we would just straight away go, well, this happened and it was absolute dog, mate. So what we want to do is say, well, practice it, construct it, and structure it in a way that forces you to think more positively about the day you've had, and try to say to someone after a really long hard day, what did you enjoy? Like you've got to do it yourself because it's, it's how you feel when you're down. You know how you feel when you're upset, hurt, annoyed, grumpy, man. And it's in those moments trying to think positively is really tough, which is why developing this habit will only do wonders for you. Because you can look back, as Adam said, in a month's time at your entries and go, I thought I've had a difficult month, but this has also happened. That's really positive. This has happened, and
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's not dead weight, dead time. You've still grown and developed and succeeded and achieved things in a difficult period of your life, and that's what Gladden is so wonderful for, man. I think it's such a wonderful
It
way of
is. It is.
perspective shifting and developing that metacognition that we bang on and harp on about so much, developing who you are and understanding who you are, how you feel, how you think, how you operate.
you know, I think that the temptation is like really big things that are really fun that happen and they're really nice. Like, um, yeah, cool. But it's also the very, very small things that happen that you make you feel better. Like I've just got my journal up. I do a digital one, and I can see that as I've said, I've had a difficult time. But one of the things I really enjoyed in the last week, as I went for a run and I saw Jonathan Bailey on the seafront, just
Man,
walking. I went for a walk. I didn't say hello to him, but I saw him. That was something that made me joy. That was what 3 seconds of my life running past this famous person who's like
yeah.
international superstar. That made me very
What a
happy.
geezer, mate. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we're now best friends. We go to the pub. We don't. I wish.
What a
But
story that
that
would
that
be,
is
mate.
those tiny little things. Like
Get him on the pod.
Jonathan Bailey. If you're listening to this, I saw you on the
Oh,
beach. Come and pod next to me. Imagine next week it's just me and then Jonathan Bailey just here.
that's your goal. That's the task I'm setting you, man. When you
Oh
see these
man,
famous people, you go up and you harass them, harangue them to come on the pod.
I will. I will. And if
The only
anyone
way we're
listening,
going to get massive.
exactly, if anyone listening knows any famous people, then please send them the pod.